since I was a little girl, it was very clear to me that my future career was not behind a desk. I was a very ambitious child, and my dream was to be a military pilot. My father is in the army, and I guess a lot of my aspirations came from looking up to him over the years. As I got older and started to dig a little deeper into what was my dream profession, I realized several things. First of all, it was a completely male-dominated field, and I noticed how the few women there were had not reached leadership positions and how they were treated in a distinctly different way. It didn't seem to matter how qualified they were, simply because they were women, they had to prove themselves way more than their male counterparts. In order to understand this problem in more depth, I will first proceed to analyze the data obtained from the Spanish Ministry of Defense, which shows the percentage of women in the army since the approval in 1999 of their entry into all the corps that make up the Spanish Armed Force. As we can see, these percentages reflect a clear lack of representation of women, and this gap only increases the further up the hierarchy we go. In senior military positions, this percentage is reduced to less than 1%, with only 2 women among the 250 generals in the army. So we can see a clear case of vertical segregation in which women are not able to advance to leadership positions. But why does this happen? First of all, we must take into account the concept of glass ceiling, defined as an artificial and often unacknowledged discriminatory barrier that prevents otherwise qualified people, such as women, from rising to positions of leadership and power. Most women felt that they were treated differently than their male colleagues, especially if they were in a position of power where they experienced not being taken as seriously as others. There has also been proven that women are much more likely to experience chill climate, in other words, to feel excluded and unwelcome in their work environment. The most widespread opinion is that as women, they had to make more effort to be considered for important positions, which can be explained by the existence of gender norms of leaderships, which creates a disadvantage for women as leadership is seen as related to characteristics that are normally assigned to men. Another thing I realized was that although for men it did not seem exclusive, when it came to military women, it seemed impossible to combine a successful career with having a family. And many of these women who had fought so hard to reach their positions within the army ended up abandoning military life in order to be able to dedicate more time to their families and trying to escape what Professor Arlie Hochschild defined as second shift. This, together with the aforementioned conditions, has caused what is known as a leaky pipeline of female talent in the Spanish army. This leaky pipeline also explains why there is a shortage of women in the higher ranks. This problem is becoming increasingly complicated as the lack of women in the military leads to conditions of inequality, discrimination, and chilly climate, leading to a leaky pipeline that explains the lack of women in leadership positions and in the military in general, which perpetuates the existing conditions. This problem has already caught the attention of the Spanish government, which has tried to promote measures that favor the entry of women into the military and their promotion within it, in a plan that aims to tackle both horizontal and vertical discrimination. Some of the measures that had been included in these plans are promoting more women to higher positions within the army and raising awareness of the importance of female talent in the armed forces. However, in my opinion, in order to tackle this problem, a much broader and deeper approach is needed to put an end to the difficulties faced by women in the Spanish armed force.